Man, my brother,
Big brother Chris.
Uncle Mo. So much going on, so much to talk about. We've had so many conversations, dude, on and off microphones, in and out of hotels all around the world, different countries, and I mean, I've got endless stories, man. And you were a really interesting person, unlike any other, unlike any other person I've ever met in my life. And I mean that in the most positive way. Like, you were uniquely you. And I've never met a Mo. And,
Thank you, man.
Yeah, no, I say that. So from my history with you, man, you are a master musician, brother. Master musician. Your name is Mozart, but I've never met a genius musician until I've met you. I've never met such a more humble and generous, giving person who would give their last anything to anybody. I've never met such an open-minded person that has this magnetic ability just to bring people together so naturally. And your fashion is crazy, man. Your fashion is crazy, dude. You've got so many talents,
Fashion.
bro.
Yes.
And I want to just bring it all the way back, and I want to start with a moment, one that kind of defines everything. But can you walk me through what it was like growing up in Iraq?
For me, I was born under the very stressful times. War is happening. My family absolutely is seeking peace and seeking peace of mind more than just a space that has finally peace physically. Moved to Jordan when I was very young. I was 3.5 or so. I found a harmonica on my way, and that ignited my musical interest, because as a child, every child has a certain toy or something like that. For me, like finding this little red harmonica that when you just blow sound, it just harmonizes. Speaking of that, I got one with me right here.
What?
Harmonica.
Hell yeah, bro.
I found it and I was very fascinated by the sound of this. Now, in that time, the other things that are natural to my existence and to my qualities, when I walk in the world and the path of walking the world in the journey, comes from being in very painful situations that were transformed to become the greatest and most God grace-like situations. Moving from a country to another, moving from so many houses with my family, changing culture, language, all these things here and there, and constantly being in the move. And I remember moving to Jordan and moving to this house that didn't have doors or windows. It's just basically a building, cold, in one room with my full family. We were 6 people sleeping in one mattress.
Wow.
Situation. It's tough times, but for the kid that I was, I couldn't be more excited to sleep in between all of my family. The kid is always, grabs their toy or their blanket and they come to their mom and dad like, I want to sleep with you tonight for no reason when we're children, because we want to feel that security and safety. Well, I got 5 stars. I have to sleep with them every day, So the kid doesn't know any financial problem, doesn't know any difficulties in the path.
Purity, yeah.
The purity of it. And that's why I was very lucky. And I had very good parents in my life. My father was a healer. He's a alternative medicine master, Chinese medicine and Eastern medicine doctorate and all of this. So I witnessed him healing people. I remember the first shift moving to a country, and I see my dad work with all these kids and older people with very chronic illness and bring them back to life was the greatest thing. It was always a project of his when he focused on one person. And I remember the things he used to do that stayed with me when I grew older. And it was imprinted because when you're a kid, you copy paste the mechanism of those around you a lot more than you listen to what they tell you. Kids don't listen to nobody, but they copy paste what you feel and what you do,
Right.
you know.
Monkey see, monkey do type. Yeah.
Yes. And even if you lie to them, and the deep inside of you is something else, they also copy that mechanism, how to put a mask on, because they know the feeling. It's all getting registered.
Gotcha.
And my dad was always in the process of healing somebody. And I saw that. And I remember sometimes my dad would have patients that come through and he sits with them for hours and there'll be no medicine conversation happening. They'll be just laughing. And then the people leave. And my dad would say something to me like, the first medicine is to make someone's laugh, you know? And that was their first session. They just needed to loosen up and laugh, you know? And some people would tell my dad, like, thank you for making my brother laugh. I haven't seen him happy in 2 years because he's miserable with the sickness he got. So I learned about these things that was embodying my behavior in life. My mother is a cook. We were living, and we didn't have a stove in that house. We had a heater that had a top that you can put a pot on top of and cook something.
Wow.
And she would be making delicious food, like 5-star delicious food.
Wow.
We got the sweets, we got the salty food, we got the lunch, the dinner, everything. So the workforce of my father and mother was very powerful for me growing up. They both come from complete different families. My mom come from a very, very well put together family, stylish, attitude is very put together, very prideful family. My dad comes from a very humble family, humble background. He studied most of his life. His escape was books. My dad is bookaholic. He got the photography, what do you call it? Photography memory. So he reads books very fast. That's all he did in his life.
Sounds like your dad is a hero, man.
He is. He's definitely a very unique character. And growing up and him separating from my family within a company, not within his soul, was a very interesting challenge because I would not see him for long times and I would see him for a short amount of times and then I would not see him for a long time. And this kept happening that way. So whenever we have a moment we meet, he gives me all the things I need to know and he's gone for a long time. So I get to practice life as if he's with me. So we built a friendship relationship, a lot more than a father and a kid relationship. And when I see him the first time after 13 years of not seeing him, I had a couple questions for him to, like, you know, get to know who this character is because I've grown so much into the world as well. And I just see him very, very similar to my behaviors and my manners and the way I am. And it's very interesting to see how the DNA plays off. But we're so similar, but we don't have the father-kid relationship. We have more than respectful friendship, you know, and it brings something very close because he was my father at some point with the way he acted with me, but he no longer act any like any father or so. He's just super chill, super relaxed. He's always interested in teaching me something new because my interest also leaned to his interest in life. You know, when it comes to healing people, when it comes to loving people, when it comes to look after the ones who need somebody, speak for the one that cannot speak for themselves, heal the ones that don't know how to heal themselves and teach them the way of healing themselves. These kind of things were there. And then my mom cooks all the time, so I cook all the time and try to feed my people too.
Yeah,
you know.
and you know what? And it's unbelievable. Now I guess I see where you get it from. As far as the charismatic side of you, you know, your dad's a hero and he's saving, you know, patients and he's saving people and he has this aura to him. And your mother's she's a master chef and so are you. So as you're in Jordan, when did you leave, or when did you feel that you need to leave, and when did you stay?
In Jordan, I stayed for 14 years, and I got my education, and I got my journey in Jordan. Many houses we changed, me and my family. when our financial situation was tough, we lived in the house I told you with no doors and stuff. But that wasn't for long, because right after that we go to another house next to it that had a very big garden, and it was a massive house. My dad started making a lot of money because he just moved months before us, and we followed him. And then he may start making a lot of money. Then I was in the best school that you can ever be, because my dad always wanted education first for us, me and my brothers and sisters. He never had anybody help him with education. He had very, very tough story, losing his mom very young, his dad as well. He's one of so many children, and many of his brothers and sisters are very, very smart people. They're very academically taught. And, some in Russia work with like the space and stuff like this, one is just heart surgeons, also either in Russia or the Netherlands. Is a very, very smart people. My mom family, they're not the smartest, but they're very good looking. They're very intense, strong people. And my dad family, super calm. There is absolutely zero anger in their existence.
That sounds like a good balance. If I know
it is a good balance. Thank God I took my dad's chillness. My mom family is all about order. If you disrespect the order, it's over. They don't know they don't bargain. Disrespect is over. That's it. My dad is very diplomatic. He would listen to you for 3 hours, even if you're going to screw him. He knows you're going to screw him, but he will sit down and listen to you. So very complete different people. I always, I'm pretty sure a lot of the people who look at their mom and dad, they're like, how did you guys get married? You're so different,
you guys are still together?
Yes. And they were just, cosmically put together to make the new generation happen the way they are. We are the evolution of that progressive rhythm that we wonder, how did you get together,
Right on.
I left to Jordan, had many different lifetimes in Jordan itself, going from the best school to a tough school right after, for a very long time. All boys school situation, military orders style. Everybody got to do something the way it's got to be done correctly.
Military school.
Yeah. They're very strict. They're very strict about certain things. You get beat up if you mess up. Slaps is like snacks.
You just get slapped. You do something and you get slapped.
Yeah, that's it. Or you get a nice stick. We had a principal that had like a couple of sticks in a bucket, and he asked you to choose which one he's going to beat you with. It's another level of thing. However, I know this, it sounds like abuse. It is abuse. But when you share the abuse with a group of people and you laugh about it, it heals.
Yes.
Laughter heals.
It is. It is. I can see your friends there just kind of just like, this guy right there.
Yes. I'm completely against putting your hand on anybody, but the situation I grew up in, there were hands everywhere.
Yes.
So you make fun of who got slapped. Next day you're getting slapped, or the same day somebody else is laughing at you. It goes around like this, and then you see this thing that happened. You see kids cry and laugh at the same time. Like through the most pain they're getting and embarrassment, they're also healing because they're laughing their ass off about what just happened.
Absolutely.
And of course there's always jokes like snacks too. If somebody crack a joke that makes everybody laugh, and then everybody gets beaten up. So there was that going on. And I would say school did not teach me anything regarding education, but it taught me social skills. It taught me how to become more of a human. It taught me how to notice something is wrong when it comes to dealing with others and different personalities. My friends were all different. My teachers were all different. So this is the kind of thing I learned out of school. I told my friends I want to be a rock star. I wanted to be a basketball player or a rock star.
At this time, did music exist in your life?
Yes.
So you still had your harmonica?
Not the one I found then, because I lost that one. And at the age of 11, I started working, saving money. At the age of 12ish, 13, I bought my first guitar, and I remember I had $25, and the guy wanted $35. My mom gave me $10 out of those. It was JD. Out of those 25 that I had, 10 of them were from my mom. And then my brother gave me 5 and my dad gave me 5. And I bought that first guitar ever of my life. A year after buying this guitar, I bought a harmonica, which I got back to that harmonica playing because I've always loved the sound of it. It always reminded me of my childhood. I started playing the guitar. A crazy story for you. I drew James Hetfield guitar from Metallica on my desk because I was very influenced is one thing, but also very in love with the character of who James Hetfield from Metallica was. He was just badass. He just plays the guitar differently. His strap is low. When he plays the guitar, he got those long arms, you know, and he makes just the coolest, most heavy riffs or the most emotionally felt riffs. And I loved that. I had my friend call me James. You know, when we're kids, you pick the character that you are in a music video or like in cartoon.
That's awesome. Call me James.
Yeah, call me James. You know, I always had something to, like, you know, I didn't care to be a solid name of a person. I always wanted to be different characters I enjoyed and stuff like this. You know, when you're a kid, you have vast imagination.
Where were you working at 11?
Lebanon snack. It was.
What is it?
It's called Lebanese snack.
Lebanese snack?
Lebanon snack. It's like snacks of Lebanon. Okay. It's a place that make Lebanese food and juices. So I would cut fruits and then I do dishwashing. So I dishwash and then I cut fruits. And let me tell you, I was so fluffy in that era of time because all I did is eat fruits. You know,
that's awesome.
They're like, chop this and chop this and chop that. And you like make buckets of fruits, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm like cutting, one goes there, one goes here, one goes there, you know. You know, you make the bucket, you know, I'm like, oh, mango, I love mango. And it was incredible. And they were not paying me a lot, obviously. But I saved that money, you know. Yeah. And I remember one day my dad did, which definitely I hated. I saved money for 3 months, all of my summer, and I had 280 JDs put under my clothes in the closet. And I was excited to buy my brother a bass guitar because I always wanted my brother to be in a band with me, always. And my brother loved the bass, and he kicks ass at the synchronization we have when we play together is unmatchable. I believe it. I believe it, yeah. And that day I woke up in the morning, I'm happy, I'm about to go do this. I look for the money, I don't find the money. I get out, I see my dad sitting. My dad doesn't always visit, but when he does, he fucks shit up sometimes. I go out, I'm like, dude, where's the money? He looks at me and he's like, congratulations. Today is the first feeling for you as a man to know what it is to take care of the house. You paid the rent. I'm like, I don't give a shit about the rent, sir. I want to buy a guitar because I got dreams in here, yeah. You know.
Wow.
This money was gone completely. It was also the first time my dad told me to go to work.
I'm sorry, man.
I know.
Yeah, no, that's tough. That's tough.
That's tough. Yeah. He did that after he used to do this thing. So I asked him for money. I'm like, Dad, I'm going out. You know, I need something like half a JD. That's big for me then. He would hold the coin in his hand and he'll ask me to open his hand. And, you know, I usually used to fail because he's a strong man. But then one day I actually like went full on like an idiot. I'm like, let me show him what's up, you know, because that's always how you feel. And we're tackling, we're playing hard. And I took the fucking coin out of his hand. And then he was like, you see, now this is the day I no longer give you any money. I'm like, wait, what? Why? He's like, obviously you're strong enough to make yours, to get yours.
Wow.
So that test I hated too.
Wow.
He's like, now you're strong enough to make your own, to get your own money. So wow. I no longer give you anything. And from there on, I found myself a nice gig. And he would still give me money sometimes, but under a task. He'll be like, all right, I need you to go downtown. Also, I was very young when I was going to the most crowded and intense place that was an hour and a half, if not two, away from my house, like very far. I would take public transportation, get up with all these strangers. I'm 9. And go all the way very far in downtown, go to a place with a big paper, tell the guy what kind of herbs my dad wants, get all the herbs, load them in a certain car, take him to a different bus station, and then take the bus or take a different actual car because they're too heavy to be on the bus. And in that downtown, I would go to a place on a Friday. It was a whole street they block and they sell animals. That was my heaven, Chris. That was my heaven. Another thing I'm very, very interested in since I was a kid is animals. I had pigeons, I had turtles, I had snakes. Growing up, I had a duck with one leg because I saved her from food. You know, I was walking and, you know, there's some ladies, they just sit down and you point at the animal. They have rabbits, they have ducks, they have chickens, and they'll just kill it right in front of you and like clean it up and do the thing and put it in a bag for you. I thought that was terrible, horrifying for me because I love the animals. So I go there and I shop whatever animals I see. And I'm like, no, don't kill it. Give it to me.
Dude, that's awesome though.
Yeah, I got a rabbit home. I saw this duck with one leg and she was really funny looking. So I took her and I put her in my pigeon area where I have pigeons. She thought she's a pigeon for the longest time. And one day she flew and she never came back. You know, it's hilarious. I made her a pool with plastic bags and stuff, you know. I started having friends later in my life. Before that, I was in a bubble.
She needed that staycation, man. And during this bubble, like obviously, so you have animals, and now you have this guitar at this time. So you have the guitar, you buy a harmonica, or does that come later?
I bought a harmonica right after that guitar. I started practicing on this guitar. 6 months later, somebody came and actually tuned it for me, and I was playing it correctly with the notes, but wrong completely. Somebody tuned it for me, and I was like, holy shit, this is a lot easier. Now I see how this can harmonize and play. So I start playing. I had a couple guys that were such great friends of mine at the time. This guy, his name is Baha. He was the drummer of this project that we were making as kids. And he would put a flip-flop backward on a couch and it hits. And he got these little sticks and we would put buckets, and he was so good. And he's a drummer now. He's a great drummer.
Sounds like it.
You know? And we would jam, we would play songs and do things. And he had a really good voice too. He had a better pitch than me when it comes to vocaling, you know, and he would like always say things a certain way and all this. Cause I'm a kid, I'm just screaming. I'm influenced by James Hetfield. Oh yeah, yeah, you know. Oh, yeah. We got it through, and I had another friend who was into classical guitar, you know, and I would play Spanish and flamenco music with him. And I would change to heavy metal with different guys. At that same time, I was doing a break dance, and I was also skating, rollerblading, because I used to go to that same area in downtown, and they have thrift stores, and it's these big shipments that come from Europe and the United States that they no longer use, and they put them there in that secondhand store in the Middle East. But over there, you find fashion. You know, you find Harley Davidson leather jackets, you know, some badass stuff. Oh, yeah. You find ropes that are different. You find pants and shoes, skateboarder shoes. Mm-hmm. I loved skateboarder shoes, those big fat ones. Yep. Completely. At the time, I would buy all these things that are so fashionable and so cheap at the same time. And I would go there, and one day I went there to buy a shoes, and I found shoes with wheels. My life changed. I'm like, that's shoes with wheels?
Shoes with wheels, done.
Let's go. And my mom, before that, she would take me with her aunt when my dad is not around. And, you know, we were together for like 2 years or 3 years. She would take me every once in a while to skate in this like area. And, you know, they give you your size shoes and stuff like that. But it was like the force skate. It wasn't the rollerblade. When I got to the rollerblade, I was like, this is my groove. And I started rollerblading without wearing shoes for like couple years. It's autism at its finest. When you get to discover yourself and read through your story and how unaware you were and expressive, because I was more expressive when I was unaware of the world. So I would put a shoes that has wheels in it and just play it until I'm so good at it that I signed up with Red Bull. I was sponsored by Red Bull. and that's like a world big competition situation.
Yeah, I think they're kind of big. Not the name drop, but I think they're pretty big now, especially like sponsoring athletes.
Yes.
So, but they don't just sponsor any athletes. They sponsor really good athletes.
Yes. They took care of me.
That's it. Continue, please. So you're sponsored by Red Bull, and congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. It was quick. It happened. Somebody saw me skating in some place. It was actually, there was a breakdance competition happening in that same floor where people skate, and the owner of that arena or ring, he would put this music on. People start breakdancing and stuff, and I used to breakdance too. So I'll jump in, I do a couple moves and stuff like this, and then I put my skate on and I start skating, and he was like, "Man, you're good." He's like, "There's a competition gonna happen. Red Bull is this coming through. Is gonna be like that, like this." I sign up. I go there. I get it done, and during practice, I fracture my hand a little bit, and they take me to a hospital, take care of everything. They pay for everything. It was incredible. And then after that, they gave me a paper that I have to sign from my parents that if anything happened to me, it's under my own thing. Who signed it? I signed it. I have no parents at the time. I was living with my grandma and grandpa, I think. My mom was overseas getting a surgery. My dad was out. So I'm like, pew, pew, let's go. And I signed up for the finals, and I was in the finals. And I think I got 4th place, and I was very young, and everybody else with me was like a pro. But for me,
pretty sure that makes you a pro too. There.
Yes.
So you're a professional rollerblader.
Rollerblader,
You're
yeah.
Professional. That's just so. Professional guitarist, a professional rollerblader, professional musician. I would call you professional chef for sure.
Thank you.
And please continue. I mean, this is incredible.
Yes. This it was an incredible life story over there. It was a blessing, man. It was incredible. The friends I had around and everything. The story of James Hetfield guitar. I drew that guitar on my desk from the 5th or 6th grade until I stayed in that school, 11th grade, and in 2009, a year after I came to America.
Why'd you come to America, if you don't mind me asking?
I came through the United Nations because my case was very difficult because I was an immigrant and a refugee in Jordan. I wasn't legal to begin with. And there's a lot of taxation that happened based on how many days you spend. Every day you have to pay tax for it. And we didn't have that money. We were just there and we're happy to be safe,
So this is as war's going on, and you're in Jordan, and you have to pay to live in Jordan.
Yes, the war was not in Jordan. The war was in Iraq.
War's in Iraq. So you left Iraq and to stay in Jordan for safety. What's going through your mind if you don't like? It's war. So how is a war? War is clearly affecting your family because you had to leave. Like you had to leave home. Is home now in Jordan? Does home feel like Jordan?
Home became a state of mind for me. Whenever I put and lay my head is home. The second I take a nap and I'm sleeping, that's home. So it could be anywhere in the world.
When do you remember getting that comfort?
Because I had no comfort ever.
Ever.
I've always felt that I'm an outsider, and I always try to create an environment that makes everybody feel warm and make me feel part of that warmth as well, so we can actually connect and communicate and link with things that are deeper than our nationalities, our skin colors, or whatever indoctrination of the differences that they apply to us as children. It's not our fault. We're just born in these times and this ignorance sometimes. And I would try to create some environment. That's why I had a clown energy when I was a kid. I make my mom happy. No matter what she's going through, I make other people happy. I try to thrive to make something warm going on. So personally, have I felt home in anywhere? I created home everywhere I went around. I knew how to create something that makes us feel linked and
very
together.
Very courageous too. And did you ever see like the influence? Did you ever miss anyone like as you're developing these relationships? Did you ever try and hold on to any of them, or just let go? Because I know you're moving, and it became a way of life. Did anybody be like, Mozart, don't leave, don't?
Oh yeah, this was the most heartbreaking situation because every time we move to a place, I go to a certain close. It's cool. You make certain friends. You make certain. You meet certain people. Like for me, my friends were not only the people in school. For me, it was the guy who's making bread in that bakery. That when I walk by, I tell him good morning. He tell me good morning, and he tell me some blessing. Because that's how the culture, people just say good things. The lady who's by the what do you call it, apricot tree, she's just always sitting, getting sun on her knees. She's an old lady, and she just tell me the most sweet prayers. God bless you and protect your family, and all these kind of things. Those were also my friends. So when we change scenarios, those are also the people I lose saying good morning to, or have a thing to. There was a tree I was very connected to, and I was really upset when we left this house. It was in the nicest area. Chris, we went from like tough area, area where people make no money and barely survive, to like a very nice fancy area. We had this orchard that was massive. We had all these trees and everything. And when I was a kid, I hated fish. I just couldn't stand the smell of it or like it or whatever, or any food in general. I just didn't want to eat. When a kid is so active, the mom is just always trying to shove food in their mouth. I was that kid, of course. And she would give me that plate, and I would go to this tree. It was a fig tree, and it definitely was over like 300 years. It probably was measured to be like 500 or so, but it's massive. The trunk is so massive. So I would climb it, I'll go on top, and I'll give my food to the cats. All the fish I have, or all the meat to the cats, and I'll eat the rice. And the cat just come and hang out, and I loved it. That was my peak as a kid of moment, because it's always like 12 noon, 1 when I finish the school, and I go there and I climb, and I remember how the sun was hitting, and I remember the leaves of the big ass leaves of the fig tree, and in the morning my dad will get all the figs, and my breakfast was figs and fruits. It was incredible. It was just all breakfast was happening from the garden. My dad always made sure we ate these things. My mom always cooked very healthy food. So this was a very strange connection, to be connected to something that doesn't have movement or speech, which is a tree. But when I grew up in life and I entered the state of meditation, I understood that what looks solid is actually moving, and
Right.
in silence, there's vibrations and connections and links, but the tree does not speak by voice.
But it's alive.
But it's alive.
It's alive. It does amazing things, and we're very ignorant just because we assume it doesn't. We assume.
Yes.
We assume.
We just assume, because we judge things by our outer senses. And our outer senses are limited because they're not used to their full potential. When you learn how to use the body, and that's a different topic that came to my life, you realize that you could lose yourself, just like music. When you lose yourself, something happened. You create the third element. First element is the instrument. Second element is you. The third element is what you and the instrument make later. And it has nothing to do with you, and it has nothing to do with the instrument.
Right.
You have to lose yourself, and the instrument has to be tuned.
Right.
The instrument is tuned, you are tuned, you do the action, a third element show up. It's the same thing, we use the senses to link that exact same state. Later on, that's what happened. Crazy story is manifestation. The story of manifestation has played big in my life. I drew James Hetfield guitar, the guy from Metallica. I'm so influenced by. I drew his guitar, and I would tell my friends, I'm going to be a rock star. I'm going to be a rock star. I also wanted to be a basketball star. And I told my family, those are the two things I want to do. I got with a basketball team. The team got better. And then they all went to practice in Dubai, but I couldn't go because I didn't have papers. And they didn't know, because I speak Jordanian like I'm from there. But when I speak Iraqi, I speak like I'm from there. And when I speak Egyptian, I always spoke different tongues. It's a little different. It's the same language, but if you don't know how to speak all of these from childhood, somebody will spot you. You'll be spotted. So I drew this guitar, and I told my friend, this is what I want to do. my basketball thing went away. My flamenco guitar, the Spanish embassy had an opportunity to take me to Spain, and I couldn't because I don't have paper. So I had opportunities to leave the country and to do things with my art, but nobody knew.
So why are Spain? What do you mean the embassy wanted to bring you to Spain? Why? What was
The
going on
embassy had like a program to take different people, refugees from Jordan, to take them to Spain, and my friend was part of that program. And I played flamenco guitar, and they were so in love with it. They were like, "Yo, we need to take this guy," but I couldn't go. It was all paid because I didn't have papers, and that showed me that I want to be free in a world that gives me offers to spread my wings even further. I've already been detached from places because of the harsh reality of moving constantly, So I became somebody who would create these links and depth with people. But if I have to move, I have to move. I became okay with it, And I couldn't go. I couldn't go to Dubai to practice my basketball. I couldn't go to Spain to play the guitar, and I couldn't go to Lebanon or France to practice with Red Bull because the coach from Red Bull, he was like, "Listen, you have bright future if you can come to Lebanon and do rehearsals there so you can become a coach for Red Bull later on." And he's like, "You'll retire at 27, 29, He's like, "You just do coaching and do great things." And he's like, "It's working for me and you have it."
Yeah.
He's like, "You're driven." But I also couldn't do that because I didn't have paper. Now, James Hetfield guitar got me out of this because my manifestation was to be a rock star now. And I knew in my heart, I was like, when I'm 80 years old, I can't play the skates. When I'm 80 years old,
right.
I can't spin on my head, like breakdancing situation.
Absolutely.
When I'm old, maybe I can't go and dunk. But when I'm 80 years old, I can play music.
Yes.
That's something I can take it.
Yes.
So most dream, I'm going to be a rock star. I told my friends I'm going to be in America and this. I said these things before it happens, and I didn't say them out of knowing. I said them out of entertainment because I would say these things that are not around, but to entertain my friend. So it's not lies. It is kind of a lie, but it comes from imagination.
And it's spoken into existence.
Yeah,
you say it, and it's okay,
exactly, and it's never a lie because it actually happened.
Yeah, Yeah.
But the place of creation, there was no an eye watching if this is real or this is not. It was just said, And I always had this vision that I'm gonna grab that guitar James plays because I was really in love with that guitar, and I'm just gonna play it. And I always wanted to tell him, "Thank you, you changed my life." Another artist like that too is when I heard Pink Floyd play. I knew that prophets can leave their legacy and knowledge through music. And if it ignites someone's soul, I just knew this is what I want to do. This person did something to me. They recorded this in 1971 or 72 in some studio. I'm born in 91, and right now I'm in the early 2000s knowing what this person has did because it touched me, and that's what I want to do. And then you hear the topic and you see what they're writing about and stuff like that, and you align and you become tribe of that legacy and that perspective of life that brings music in unity and talks about the world and talks about deep things that can be imprinted in our subconscious, so we arise together.
Right.
It was all beautiful like that. Long story short, I come to the United States 2008 through the United Nations. A friend of mine, he's a friend actually of my brother, tells my brother, "Listen, the United Nations has an opportunity for some families to take care of you and take you out of the Middle East, and you can go some different places." My mom was like, "Let's give it a shot." My mom is like, "I already did that a long time ago. Let me go give it a shot again." We give it a shot. And we locked in another interview, and then we locked in another interview. And then one of the interviews, I brought my guitar with me. And I sat with these people from America, and I was asking them, I was like, "What kind of song do you want? Tell me about any song you want. I'm going to play it for you, And they're like, "What bands do you like?" I told them the bands and stuff, and I played them a song, and they were like fascinated. They're like, "Wow, you gotta get out of here, sir.
Yeah, absolutely.
You gotta move. We're a workforce. Me and my brothers and my sisters. We will be benefit to any place we will go to.
Amazing.
We're a very driven family, very happy and positive, regardless of the darkness of life that came through. And it's all because we joke very good. Me and my family, we are so sarcastic. We speak the language of sarcasm and we just laugh. So no matter how terrible something else is going on, we're going through, it just drops so heavy somewhere else when we joke about it and we break it through humor.
It's brilliance, actually.
Yes. and we moved a lot of trauma. We moved a lot of cultural pressure. We moved a lot of old ideologies and mentalities and religious extreme behaviors all away just by that. Nothing could break us. We were very flexible because of the laughter and the jokes we had.
That's incredible.
Coming through to the States, 2008, while I'm coming here, there's a lady who's like, by the way, there's a band coming. They're originally from Iraq. There was a documentary about them called Heavy Metal in Baghdad. Very big people. They're coming through, and I have a gift for you. That's what she told me, because she saw me coming through with guitars. I'm like, wow, I know this band. They were supposed to show up in the Battle of the Band in Jordan, and they didn't. And my friend, who I play in a band with, went to the Battle of the Band and won first place.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. And I'm like, but I was waiting for this band to show up, because I'm like, I never met Iraqis yet. I'm like, I want to know what they are like, playing heavy metal and shit.
Yeah.
I came to the States 6 months later. She moves one of the guys right next door to me. And then she tells me, she's like, by the way, next door just moved this guy who plays for this band. I'm like, holy shit. I go, knock the door. He opens the door. He speaks to me in English. He's like, hey man, what do you want? The guy is blonde with blue eyes. Okay, I was like, man, you want to jam? I have my acoustic guitar. And he looks at me. He was like, who the fuck are you?
Hey man, you want to jam?
Yeah. And I just speaking in Iraqi with him. I'm like, yeah, let's go. He was like, absolutely. We walked in. His wife made us some tea and snacks. And we start playing. And then the rest of the band started slowly showing up. Now I'm going to high school. So I moved further from these guys. I got to know them. I moved further. I continued high school. And then one day they called me. They're like, yo, come to our rehearsal place. So I go to the rehearsal place maybe other week, every month. I go once and I see these guys killing it. They're top level playing. Their drummer was, and the bass. And
they're all good?
They're all good.
And you fit right in.
I was like, this is beautiful. And then right after I finished high school, the same week, one of the guys called me and he was like, how do you feel about playing with us? Because our guitar player is going to move and he needs to do some paperwork for his family, but we have a tour lined up, So I graduated high school. I jumped straight to these bands. 2009, when the band came to America, Metallica invited the band to the show. And right after the show, James Hetfield gives his guitar to the singer and he writes, welcome to America, love and respect. This is yours.
Wow.
And he tells him there's more riffs inside of this guitar. Pull them out.
Wow.
This guitar comes to my hand in the greatest moment of making the greatest album with this band.
Wow.
And I write all the songs with the guy and we record on that guitar. Incredible. The same guitar I had and drone telling my friend I'm going to be a rock star.
Incredible is the only word I could come. It's more than incredible.
Yes.
It's more to accomplish it. What does that feel like in that moment?
Grabbing this guitar, it felt like it's something that I knew it was going to happen, but I didn't believe it will happen. And when it happens, I'm like, oh my God.
Shocked yourself?
It shocked me.
The universe was like...
It shocked me.
Wow.
It shocked me.
You knew though, but you're like, as soon as you seen it come to fruition, you're like, oh my God.
Yes, it's legacy. This man has never gave his guitar in any videos or anything to nobody. You don't see it happening like this. I'm sure he does incredible charities and things like that and inspires people, but that was a very personal moment.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it delivered to me. I recorded a whole album with that guitar. It's called Gilgamesh. It's a heavy ass album, beautiful album. and we got on Billboard. On Billboard, we got on what do you call it? Rolling Stones magazine. I was in Rolling Stones, middle page, and we had 2 or 3 pages about us with my pictures and the guy's picture in it. All this Rockstar thing happened, and we toured around the United States, opened for many big bands, played for many big bands. I even opened for Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne was a headliner in a very big show, and it was like all very big artists playing for Vice anniversary, the 20th anniversary of Vice magazine and documentary. And I was part of the show, and they had members from the band Megadeth, members from the band Testament, and myself in one stage. I'm like, this is crazy. This is the people I listened to as a child.
I would consider you a rock star.
Yes, I am a rock star.
You are a
Completely made it into that level in my life, and it was all by the grace of God, man. And the manifestation and the positive thinking of knowing that this will happen, and being good at what I do too, And I remember walking into this room of rehearsals before the show, because I had 1 hour or 2 hours to rehearse with these legends. And I'm walking with my guitar. They send a limo to my house, by the way. I got picked up by a big limo. I've done tours and stuff
it's
before.
like in the movie. Like
Yes.
if there's a movie and that rock star gets picked up, it has to be with a limo, right?
Yes, that's when I felt it. I'm like, oh my God, the guy is like grabbing my guitar, I put it in the back for you. I'm like, okay, cool,
You're used to this.
Yeah, I'm used to setting up the stage and playing and breaking the stage at some point too.
Yeah.
And we drive all the way there. I see Lil Wayne in the backstage. Jonah Hill, the actor, took a shot with him. We're like getting a little tipsy together. It was hilarious. He was a very funny guy.
He seems like a funny guy.
He's a funny guy.
He seems like a really funny
very
guy.
cool.
That's so cool, dude.
Yeah.
So cool.
I met all this random, super famous people, and like people that we love. Like who doesn't love seeing Jonah Hill in any movie? Like it's always whatever he plays, it's always awesome.
Yeah.
So it was like really amazing interaction with all these people. Then I go on stage, destroy it, just put every little bit of my soul in it. Even after that, I'm getting compliments from these big people I walked with. Before that, I'm walking into the room, I hear them jamming, I'm 5 minutes late, you know how I am. and I'm like, shit, I want to get in with these guys. I got in super quiet, shook their hands, plugged my guitar, and I start playing. And like one of the guys, he corrects me. He's like, it goes to this note, not this one. And I just like correct it. And I'm like, oh my God, that sounds like the original one I used to listen to when I was 13. This is the 2 notes I missed, And it's just...
that's surreal.
Yeah.
That's surreal.
Yeah, it was so good. And that was the peak of performance with the heavy metal band. And then we did the album Gilgamesh. And after the album, we did a very big interview. And after the interview, the band decided to separate. And that took a toll on me. I'm like, what do you mean separate? I invested 5 years of my life from 19 or so till 24, completely dedication for this band. The rehearsal room was 2.5 hours from my house in New Jersey. I'm in New Jersey. They're deep in New York. So I would go back and forth, cold, summer, don't matter. I put my guitar on and I go, rehearse until the next morning, and just got it all done.
So I really wanna dive into this. What is going on? Like what's such a big investment? It's such you got traction, you're at the pinnacle, you get picked up in limos, you're in Rolling Stones. Dude, you're
got there.
You're there.
Yes.
You're there. And then for whatever reason, the band doesn't work out. And now but you're in.
I was so in.
But a band can't be one person. So do you what happened? What are you doing? How are you trying to get more band? Are you trying to keep the band going?
Let me tell you what kind of magic happened universally. Because while this was happening, I was making another band called Candor, and I did a music video for it. I played some songs. I worked and all my money, I put it on Candor recording. And I was trying to get this vision into what I wanted it to become. It didn't hit the spot. And I knew that. And as an artist, if things don't get to where you want it, it's not it yet. You got to keep trying. The band decided to take a break, which I knew it's the end of it. That same day, walking to the bus station, I receive a phone call to go on a world tour. And the funny thing is, in between that, I went downstairs from the rehearsal studio where we filmed something, came downstairs. What are we going to do? This is over. And I was like, what was it that you haven't gotten from this band? Because I've already lived the lifestyle of a rock star. I toured America as a rock star. I opened for some big band. I headlined. Sometimes it was huge and nice. I got all the rock and roll stories a rock and roll want to have. And I said to myself, I was like, this was my ticket to see the world. I was about to go on a world tour. Like, this was the thing. Mm-hmm. And then that same day, I walked to the bus station and I get an opportunity to go on a world tour as a musician and a dancer, which I always kept dancing, you know, and I always kept my body in shape, and I kept myself in a good mindset, and physically too. I'm like, let's fucking go.
Let's go.
2 weeks later, I jump in and I start on a world tour. And through that, I did music, I did dancing, I did all the things I do. And I I was 24 at that age. I begin to have my interest that my father used to carry, my father's legacy, which is healing people, that start to hit more than let me be famous or let me play music. I never cared about fame and stuff. I just cared about rock and roll. I loved this stage.
Fame came.
Yes. If fame comes and stuff like this, it's great. But I love being on stage. I like to be witnessed by other people, and I like to do things that we all wish we could do. Because even when I'm in that state, I'm not doing it. Mm-hmm. I try to explain that to people. It's happening to me, you know. And the reason is because I put so much practice between these two hands. You know, on the guitar, this one is the rhythm, this one is the lead. On the piano, this one is the rhythm, this one is the lead. They change spots. You know, this one holds the knife, this one cuts the tomato. They make a salad. You know, they're the greatest marriage and unity that can have. So I trained these, and I went through the stages of, I want to play fast and prove myself that I'm a fast guitar player. I want to play this and prove this. All the proving, all of this, all these states that a musician go through, I've gone through. After that, a one note you can hold, and it could be the spot of transformation. Mm-hmm. You know, you change from the player to the listener, because you no longer need to focus on playing. You gotta now focus on listening. So you become the listener.
That's profound.
Yes. And this is when you start doing something and you're not really there, you know, but you're elsewhere where this equation is equal. Mm-hmm. Everything has an equation equals something. Now you're the thing it is equal. You're not the equation anymore. So that's the state you get to deliver. That's what I like to show people, you know, to deliver to people, because I think that heals.
I agree. I think it absolutely does, and I've seen it firsthand, and it has left me with a feeling that I can't really explain. I can't put into words. I could use words like awesome, amazing, incredible, unbelievable. I could use these words and try and articulate the best way of this feeling.
It's basically us, not just me. That's why you feel it and I feel it too.
It's transcending.
Yes.
It's different dimensional. Dude, it still gives me goosebumps thinking about it, man.
Yeah.
Because I feel so. I just feel so happy when I see it and I feel it, because it's there's no words that are needed, and that's the one thing I've loved about music personally my entire life, is that you don't have to talk. You don't have to talk. Your talking comes from that note.
Yes.
Your talking comes from maybe that movement, maybe just how you stand, maybe how you smile, maybe how you laugh, maybe how you sound. It doesn't even have to be a articulated sentence. Maybe you have an accent, maybe you stutter, but your tone is really nice and it's beautiful. It's very friendly. It's genuine and it's peaceful. So there's so many things about about the sound and encapsulating that thing.
Yes.
Whatever dimension that comes from, where God sent, for sure. Heavenly, bro. It's heavenly.
Thank you, man. I think that's what we do as artists, is we bring a different dimension that is within us. We have the button to activate it, and we practice so much to activate this button so it can download and we can bring something from elsewhere to here and create it here, bring it to life. Either it's a sound or a shape, architect, A lot of ancient architects, they don't come from here. They're an idea of a different dimension that works for here. The same as music, the same as dancing. There are shapes that don't exist here yet, that a dancer might one day know how to spin it and make it exist, a move. It's a beautiful thing. That's what artists really come to this planet to do, is to share that universal dimension that exists within all of us. And some are blessed to have a button and they practice their whole life so they can push the button and download this thing. And they realize it through the process that you are not the thing. Mm-hmm. You're just the tool that has the button. Mm-hmm. And when you hear it, you're very happy that you delivered this. And when I hear other artists that deliver a song or a melody that comes from the same dimension, I have so much gratitude, because I'm like, thank you for doing this for us. Because it's something I would write. It's something I would bring to here. You just brought it and you made it better. Mm-hmm. Like, it's extra for me.
That's amazing.
It's so good. Like, thank you.
That's amazing. When you say it, I think of it as a vessel. We're all vessels, and our skin, body, we're vessels. But there's so much more. There's so much more deep inside in you. There's more. As you woke up today, you breathe in, you're still here. Oh, I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited for you, because I know the master chef's gonna cook up the more.
Yes.
Hasn't made its best creation yet.
Yes, true.
And if I know anything about you, it is you are also a master manifestor, creator. What's next for you?
Next, after I did many a world tour. When we say world tour, we're talking about like Europe, Asia, Eastern Europe, America, and that's not the world. But this is, unfortunately, when they tell you it's a world tour, that's where everybody's going. So around like 35 countries to 40 countries altogether.
That's a decent chunk of the world.
It's a decent chunk.
It's a decent chunk of the world. Man.
It is. It really is. Through that process, I went and I got a medical aroma degree, which is working with plants and working with the oil of the plants, which is not an oil. It's basically a mechanism that they extract, which is the mechanism that defend and heal the plant. It's a very, very interesting subject. The plant has a certain substance within it, which keeps certain instinct away by the way it smells. And when the plant is cut or hurt or broke, it also heals it back. That very mechanism, that very liquid, we extract. We call it oil, but it has no oils in it. We extract that and we work with the glands of the body to where you apply it and how you apply it, and to suck it into the bloodstream from a natural and organic way, the different parts of the bodies. It's a very, very beautiful thing. I love to connect with nature and connect with the things that my father is connected with as well. My dad has a cream. It's a patent cream. It works for the nerve system and arthritis and many, many different things. It's magic, bro. Anytime I give this cream to anybody, especially older people that really need it, they apply it, and then the next day they tell me, they're like, "What is this?"
Once you cut off the cameras, we're gonna have to, just a little bit.
I got you. I actually have some with me.
Say no more.
And I'm proud, because last time I visited my father, he taught me how to make that medicine, and many organizations were interested in taking the recipe, and he did not give it because he does not want them to mild it down or do something to it. It's very sacred. My dad never shared his knowledge with anybody, except myself. And he trusts that I would do the right thing with the things he tells me. And it's very interesting because he also mentions that some plants and some things that when you mix and do it, even if you give the recipe to someone else, it wouldn't work the same. You have to be the one who's doing it.
Ooh.
Yes.
I believe that. I believe that in so many different ways, because what comes to me is there's got to be a polarity. There's got to be specific intention, love, and all of that matters. All of that matters.
It does.
It's like it's like eating a cow that is distressed and hormones. Like and I'm using that as an example.
Yeah.
But versus eating something that's not in that situation, there's a process to it. And I think when you make something organically, I've ate some of your meals, and I could say, on one hand, there's so many people that make meals with love.
Yes.
And you know, I have to go to my mom to be number one, because my mom is also a chef, and anything she has ever made has always been with love.
Yes.
It's always been healthy. It's always been with love, and it's always perfect.
Yes.
It's always perfect. It's always perfect because the intention behind it was the intention of love, and I can tell she's been doing this her entire life because she loves to do it. But I also think it's because of me, so I can never say no. You never say no to mom's meals.
Of course,
Of course. But you have that, and that has been on your resume of life. And when I think of education and I think of experience, it's no resume for life. It's no resume for life. But when you look at life, at the end of the day, it's not academics per se. Some people, if their family's in there, what have you, you could say that it could be for them because their life is so around. Life is a short staycation, and the amount of things that we accomplish in life are up to us and our hearts and our intention, and also the gifts that we're given and how we choose to use them.
Mm-hmm.
And you have been given so many gifts, and you continue to do the same thing you've done with your gifts. And for me, on this end of the person who receives these gifts, thank you. Thank you for being brave to bring this, to continue to create.
Thank you, man.
To continue to bring this to the
It's
world.
autism at its finest.
We all got it's a spectrum. It doesn't count, man.
It's true.
They say it's a spectrum,
I'm just glad I wasn't grown in a different place where they would have shoved drugs in my face. Because when I was young, my dad definitely told my mom, let this one do whatever he gotta do. Don't put pressure on him, because my mom is strict.
Yeah.
Strict.
Well, your dad, I think, is an extremely wise man and a patient man, and it seems I feel like fathers know,
Yeah.
And it's that balance. Mothers know, but fathers know too.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, you're doing amazing things, and it sounds like you're making your family extremely proud. I have nothing but love for you, my brother, and I think I'm very, very, very stoked of what the next thing turns into. But what you're doing right now, I mean, it's literally changing the world as well. So continue to be you every day. Thank you for blessing me.
Thank you for having me here, man. This is amazing.
And thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Running Bear.